I'm going to use even smaller words. Usually I don't do it, but the subject is such that I thought. At the very outset, I am glad to see Sangeeta here. I am a proud member of the History of Information Technology at the Apollo Systems. And it's my privilege, and thank you, Professor Ganpati and Sangeeta, for having me and get into the nostalgia of 2000s. These are much more than our expectations. Why it is difficult to have this complexity in decision making? Wherever there is a human being, there is a confusion. There is uncertainty when we operate in surgical environment. There are human-based biases. There are errors in judgment, and the line between each one of them is very thin. There are differences of opinion we discuss and argue over the period of time, because 2 and 2 is never 4, and we should never try to make medicine mathematics. Hence, it is to be very carefully chosen where you want technology and where you want human factors. Because most of the apprehension when I am going to talk about robotics of our patient is that, oh my God, machine is going to operate. It's a myth. It's never a robot. It's a master-slave system. Every time human is at the command of making a decision. There are motives. Of course, I would not like to go into. Plus, there are personal values which decide on what we do. One major role which has been played is the co-creation of technology. And I'll give you 2 examples how co-creation works. In an incubation period of technology, they see what you see is all there. They have no imagination that where this technology is going to land. And we take the example of computing. I am reminded of Charles Babbage, the first computing machine in 1837. I bet he had any idea where we are heading to. It needed 15 generations to get to a handheld computing or mobile computing in 2013, and it doesn't end here. The latest generation which I am wearing, Dr. Ganpati said, is the Google Glass. Google Glass may, once the usual question asked at the departmental stores, even in the United States, is a new technology, and it's a very embarrassing thing to use Google Glass everywhere because the laws are coming up, privacy issues which I'll talk about. Most important thing, it is the first device which is integrated with your human body. And if you see how it works is that there is a projector and the image is directly projected in the retina. And that's what is what you call the co-creation of technology. I have my reservations on the growth of Google Glass for the simple reason that most of the buzzword of the day is the open-ended innovation. It is no more taking years and years of incubation. For me, the best indication or best use for it is, in the current apps which I can download, is to follow my 2-year-old grandson to what he does. But don't look at what it can do. Use the same term what I said, Vicity, and you have to look at the potential it provides with you. We had a very specific purpose for getting in this technology. We are very keen to develop real-time intra-operative data capture. But for that, we need to really wait. Currently, what you saw is a technology developed with Philips. They are developing an app which they have developed, but they have yet to open it for the public. The biggest advantage I see is total submersion with the patient. It's undivided attention to the patient, where you can record the entire conversation. You can have multimedia recording, including videos and still pictures, and entire thing will go back to your hospital information system. So I think the excitement of technology is there. I'll give another example which is very close to what I do. If you look at the development of the sole human application robot Da Vinci. The history started in 96-98 with Fred Moll, Robert Jung, and John Fionn. And the first-hand conversation with Fred Moll, they did not know what they are heading for. And SRI, IBM, and Professor Ken from MIT joined to begin the whole thing. The first application came, which was at the Leipzig Heart Institute in 2 years, with 10,000 components of this robot. It's a huge machine with 4 arms. So they never thought, and they said, because their clinical application first client was Leipzig, which happened to be a heart institute, so they thought it would be used, which didn't make anything except for Lima harvesting. It landed it was picked up by Mani Menon at the Henry Ford Hospital to develop the first robotic prostatectomy. We call the Vattikuti Institute prostatectomy, which is being practiced all over the world. Even Mani did not know what would be the offshoot of this. Now, the biggest problem, first part, when my first slide I showed that the decision making is, why the decision making is a problem because of the subjectivity. This is a study quoted by Eddy, cited by Eddy, that the surgeons were given the diagnostic information, and it doesn't mean that they are fickle-minded, because half of them said yes in favor of surgery, half of them said no surgery. What is intriguing is after 2 years, on the same case material, 40% of them changed their opinion. Now, how do you compute this and do that? And we have a right to do, because this is all done. It's not a legal contract with me. I am allowed to change my opinion depending on the situation and depending on the patient. And that's why, whether it's the Obama healthcare plan where the cost cutting is coming, looking at the system being patient-centric, there is a role of collective wisdom. Collective wisdom is nothing new, academic institutions, and some of the academic-minded corporate institutions were already practicing a group. Otherwise, the patient who has multiple infirmities has to go to 20 people, and even if he goes for a second opinion, it confuses him more because it is either or, and what patient needs is a collective wisdom. What happens at the back end of the medicine, he is not interested in, but what he is interested in the given circumstances, you resolve your differences and tell me what is best for my problem. The future directions, I think I have a video to show last, and then I'll get into that. So secrecy is a major issue, and this video in the lighter vein is definitely going astrologers out of business. But medical, particularly surgical patient confidentiality, even with the Google Glass, because currently it lands on Google server. I am recording what is happening here, and I could have shown you live, but since the video length would be, there are lots of limitations of technology. I'm not going in the details. All I would like to say is what is the future now? Even without slide, I can tell you. According to me, the future is the mobility. People are talking of hospital in a box. Gentlemen talked on cloud. It needs the portability. Second thing, I feel that I'm moving with 4 gadgets. Now, ultimately it is going to be one gadget. Human beings can't handle with multiple functions. Is happening with the iPhone itself. The third thing which is very likely to happen in the surgical field is the precision in the surgery, education, monitoring these patient safety during new procedure development. And that's what we are looking at the thing. And I will end by telling a quote which Khalid Butt had said in one of the meetings, and I tend to agree with him. He said the future of hospital information system would be that ultimately there would be no IT department, there would be a man, security guard, and a dog. The dog's job is to make sure that nobody touches the computing system, and man would be there to feed the dog. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.